Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our web development program. Now, in our previous class, we talked about the CSS box model, where we talked about margin, padding, box sizing, and the rest of them. Though we didn't really look into box sizing because I said in the next class we are going to um, look at it very well when we do layouts and things like flexbox, float, and grid stuff like that. So we're going to look at box sizing, border box, what it means. Now, after that, I think the next class we did was just a project. We just did a movie clone project, and it was uploaded to the YouTube as well. You can check that. That was the previous video. Now, in today's class, we are going to be looking at CSS position and layouts. That's what we said we will look at. So, if I create a new folder saying, okay, I want to create this in under CSS. So I will say position underscore layout, right? Now, let me create my file index.html, then create a style.css, right? Now, inside my index.html, all I need to do is to bring out my boilerplate by using Shift and 1, the default boilerplate, right? Then after that, I can link my CSS to that by doing something like this: link column CSS, right? So now these two are linked. So let me do something like h1. I'll see CSS position and layout, right? So if I save this and right click, then open with live server. So this is what I will get: CSS position and layout. Now, what is CSS position and layout? I'm going to be guiding myself with W3 school. So now we have the static position, we have the relative, right? We have the let me just see according to W3 school. We have the fixed, right? We have the absolute. Absolute and relative, they go together. So let me put this two together. And we have the sticky. So if I save, so these are the positions we have in CSS. We have static position, relative position, sticky, absolute position, fixed, and sticky position. Now, how does this work, or how do they work? Now, when we talk about position, position means where an element is placed on the browser. Let me just put it that way. Static position. So let's start now. Now, if I have a div, for instance, and I have a text h2 and this text says hello world, right? Now this is what I will get on my web page. Now if I go back to my CSS, I can style that guy. But before I do that, let me give it an ID or a class. Let me give it a class of box, right? Then when I come here, I can target that box by saying dot box. Is that not so? I can say the border should be 1 pixel solid black, right? We've seen this before in action. And I can increase the height to be 500 pixel, right? Now this is what I want to do with the box. Now I have an element inside of it called h2, right? Then I can now, when we say static position, the default position of an element when it's being rendered on the web page is the static position. So if you look at this guy now, this thing is static by default. This hello world is static by default. The box is also static by default. Now how do you know static positioning? Now for static position, you can set properties like top, bottom, left and right to them, because if you set, it won't respond. Now also, it also follows the normal document flow. Now let's say for instance, I have a div here, and this div I have lorem 3000. Now what will happen when I save and scroll? Can you see what is happening? Because this thing is static by default, they will follow the normal document flow. So please take note, that's static. Now if I control Z, I don't need those text. If I control Z, now like I said, I can't set position into them. I can't come here now and say okay, my position, if I set this to static, it's not doing anything because by default it's static. I can't say left should be 300 pixel. You can see it doesn't work. I can't say right or anything. I can't specify this positioning, right? So that brings us to the second positioning. So let's look at relative position, right? So we'll come back here, Ctrl Z. In fact, there's no need for this since I'm already explaining it. There's no need for this. Now for relative positioning, now when I say something, the position should be relative. It means I want to push it away from its original position. That's what relative means. So if I say position should be relative, and I save, you think that is not doing anything? Of course, it won't do anything. Also, if I come back here, and I say okay, I want to give a lorem of 2000, right? And see if it will follow the normal document flow. Of course, it's following the normal document flow. But then how do we get the understanding of relative? Now for me to get the understanding of relative, I can set positions such as top, left. Remember I commented this one just now, so let me uncomment it. If I save, can you see what is happening? This thing is now what 300 pixels from its original position. You get, the original position is supposed to be here. It's now 300 pixels away from its original position. If I say top, right, and I say this top should be 500 pixels, can you see what is happening? It's now 500 pixels from its original position. If I say top should be 0 pixel, it's now what? 0 pixel from its original position. From the top, don't forget there is a left here, so this 0 pixel will not do anything. Are you following? So I can say top should be 20, right? Left should be 200. So what should I will get? So this is position with respect to its original position. So please take note, that is relative position. So for static, we said static position. So I'm coming. Let me just say something like this. I'm just going to copy this. I think CSS is where we are going to do this thing. I'm going to write a comment here. So I'll say static position. So I'll say let me do something like the default position, right? We can't set top, left, right, bottom, etc. Right? Let me say top, coming top. Since we like going clockwise, top, right, bottom, and left, etc. Right? Now for relative position, I'm going to write a comment. I'll say relative position, right? Position with respect to its original position. So for this, I can set other properties like top, left, bottom, and right. Is that not so? So now that's for relative. Now what about absolute positioning? Absolute position. Now absolute position is when something is relatively positioned to its parent container. That's what it means. Remember, for relative, it means we are positioning the elements to what? Its original position, right? But now for this, I'm coming. So if you notice, these ones are not working. So let me just remove them. They are not working. Now for this now, what will happen? So let me just comment this one. Let me comment this guy. We're done with that one. Let me comment this one. Right? Now for absolute position, like I said, this is when we position something. So uh positioning an element relatively absolute to its parent container, right? So let's watch what will happen. Now for absolute position, what do we do? I can say h2, right? I'll say position absolute. Is that not so? Now when we say position absolute, nothing will work, right? Now don't forget this emphasis here. We say to its parent container, so that's the main key point to take. Now if I come here now, I can say okay, for this position I can set top, right, to be something. So if I set top to be 300 pixel, what should will happen? You can see that 300 pixel is working, but then let's compare 300 pixel of this to 300 pixel of this one. So let's see what will happen for relative or Ctrl Z. Let me just do it here. 300 pixel of absolute is somewhere around here, right? So if I use relative here, let's see what this will be. And I save. You can see that for relative, it's coming down more than the absolute. That's because for relative, it is with respect to its original position. but for absolute it is with respect to its parent container. But now I'm not styling the parent container of this div, so the parent container of this div is the browser by default. Now how do you know? 300 pixel is very big. If I say 0 pixel, can you see what is happening? It's now 0 pixel from the top, which is what? The top of the browser, right? Because the parent container of this guy does not have anything. Remember, we are seeing this space over here because I didn't set default padding and margin to be 0. So let's say, for instance, I say okay, all elements, which is universal selector, padding should be 0 pixel and margin should be 0 pixel. Now you see that that 0 pixel is touching what? It's touching the top of the browser, right? Now I'm coming. Oh, let me just say something over here. Let me say the H1. I want to give it a margin top of 200, okay, of 20 pixel. Watch. Can you see what is happening? Let me say 50 pixel, right? So that one will come down. But if you notice this one now, remember we gave a position of top 0. If I say right 0, it will also be positioned with respect to the what? The browser. Can you see it? It's now 0 from the right of the browser. I can say something like bottom 0, right? So it's now at the bottom of the browser. You get? Now I can also say left 0 pixel. So now this is being positioned with respect to what? With respect to the browser, right? But now, how do we position it with respect to its parent container? That's what we want to look at. Now remember something. When we don't style the parent container, that's to say if we don't apply styling or position to the parent container, it's going to use the browser as its parent container. I don't want to write that out, but just note it. But now, if for instance I come back here, and I go to this box, you see this box here, I want to give it a style. Let me just give it a style over here again. I'll say .box, right? Now I will say position relative, and I say position absolute. Now this is what is happening. You can see that this guy is now being positioned relatively absolute to his parent container. Remember, if I should remove this guy, it will be 0 pixel and left from the bottom of 0, left of 0 from the bottom of the screen or the browser. Can you see what I'm having over here? So that's it over here. But if I should change this to if I should give the parent container a position of relative, you can see that now is now what? 0 and 0 bottom and left on what? The parent container, which is this box. So please take note of that. I know it's kind of difficult to understand, but just bear with me. If I should say top, watch now, if I change this to top position of 0 pixel, it will be top from its parent container. If I say right, it will be 0 from the right of its parent container, right? Now even if this parent container is having a margin of 20 pixel, can you see what is happening? It will still take that guy. So from that container, now if I say top 20 pixel, you get right, let me say 200 pixel. Can you see what is happening? Or I can say left 200 pixel, whichever one. So you can see that it's what? Position with respect to its parent container. So I didn't spell left correctly. So that's for that. So let me recap. Static position, default position. Relative position, a position with respect to its original position, right? Then for absolute, a position with respect to the position of its parent container. So please take note of that. Now let's talk about the next positioning, which is what? Which is fixed position. Now fixed position is a kind of position that is done relative to the browser, right? Now fixed position stays on that position no matter how I scroll, or no matter my scroll position. That is to say, it does not follow the normal document flow, right? Let me demonstrate it. Now if for instance I have this h2 and I say okay, I want the position to be fixed, right? Now watch what will happen. If I say okay, so just fix positioning, let's see what will happen. Now if I come here and I say lorem 2000 and save, watch. If I scroll, can you see what is happening? You notice that this hello world is out of the normal document flow. We've lost the space and everything. What does that mean? It's now being positioned on where the screen is now fixed on the screen. No matter where I scroll to, I will just see it on that particular position. Now, you've seen some websites whereby you see social media link on the bottom right or bottom left. How do you do something like that? You do something like that with the use of position fixed. So please take note of that. Position fixed is what will do that for you, right? Now let's say I want okay, what's it called? I think I did something like this over here. So let me show you something like this here. If I go to a2z.com.ng, let me see. I did something like this on this website. So let me see. Can you see this button? Now, no matter where I scroll to, you see that the button is always there, right? So this is an example of position fix. Now, you want to use position fix for things like social media, such that you can see it anytime and any position you are on the screen. So please take note of that. I feel like I'm shouting because of my there's a fan over here, so I don't know. I feel like I'm shouting just to make sure my audio comes out correctly, but never mind. Now, let's see. So that's fixed position. So fixed position is a kind of position that stays on that particular place. So in fact, I need to bring back those texts. So I need a scroll to demonstrate fixed position, right? Control Y. Sorry, delete this. So let me just bring back the text. If I say Lorem 500, right? So you can see fixed position. Now take note of that. So what's the next kind of positioning? So I can decide to change the top and the left position or top and right position. So I can say I want it to be from the top, to be 0 pixel from the top. So it means it will stay up, right? If I scroll, or I can say I want it to be bottom of 0 pixel, right? So when I scroll, you can see what I'm having. Is that not so? So take note of that. That's positioning. Now let me comment this guy. I can set left and right as well, but then let me just leave this. Now the next position I have is what? Let me see. Is the what's it called? The sticky position. Oh, absolute. I can't spell again. So the sticky position is the next position I have. Now what is sticky position? Sticky position combines. Let me see, fixed position. Okay, I didn't talk about this. So let me talk about this fixed position, right? Um, see, place on the screen, no matter my scroll height, right? So now taking note of that. So for sticky position, now sticky position combines the properties of static and fixed positioning, right? Static and fixed positioning combine the properties. Okay, combine statics and fixed position. So now what does that mean? Now when we say sticky position, a sticky positioning is something that behaves as a static position by default, but when it comes to a certain height or when it gets to a certain height, it will now behave as a fixed position system or a fixed position. Now let me just demonstrate. Now if I come here and I say h2, I say position sticky, right? Now watch what will happen. If I scroll, nothing will happen to follow the normal document flow, right? But I can now set top property to be 0 pixel. What does this mean? Sticky means that by default it will be static, but when I get to this scroll top of 0 pixel, right, it will now behave as a fixed position. So watch what I will get. Do you see what is happening? Can you see what is happening? Right? It's now okay. Watch. Oh, it's now sticky, right? Now the reason why this thing is happening like this is because my position, sorry, my h2 is inside the box, right? So it is obeying what I have on that box or inside that box. If I should bring it outside and save, what will happen? Now if I save this and scroll, this is what is happening. Let me put more text. Let me add more text. So if I come back here, I want to add more text so that you see it, right? If I say Lorem 300 or 3000, let me just save. So what will happen? This is sticky positioning, right, which is static by default, but as soon as I scroll, when I get to this place, it will behave as a fixed position. Can you see what is happening? So please take note of that. So that's that about position. Position is not that difficult, so I'm going to comment it. So I can decide to set left position as well. I can say left property 30 pixel. It won't do anything like left top of this, left of this. Why is left not working? Hmm. Okay. Top 0 pixel. I don't know why that is not working, but let's just never mind. So that's that about positioning. So that's that about positioning. Positioning is not that difficult. Easy to learn and understand. So we've looked at the 5 types of positioning in CSS. I don't know, there may be other position. So how do we know if there are other position? Let me just see something. I can do something like this. So let me just try if there are other positioning. So I can see position. Let me see h2 position, right? Position. So you can see absolute, fish, relative, static, sticky, MS page. Okay, okay. Leave all those ones. We are not going to use them that much. So just leave them. So that's that about CSS positioning. So guys, that's that about CSS positioning, right? So we've looked at the different types of position, which are relative, sorry, which are static, relative. Let me change this to static. Which are static, relative, absolute, fixed, and sticky positioning, right? So these are the 5 type of position in CSS. Though there are other ones, but these are the basic ones or the most important ones. Let me put it that way. So thank you very much, guys, for joining in this video. Hope to see you next time. Our next topic will be CSS layout, right? So let me just say CSS layout. So that will be the next topic. So thanks very much, guys. See you next time.